Dive 772 on the Mitsubishi G4M1. This was a Japanese aircraft in World War II and was given the Allied code name Betty. This wreck is next to the Etten airfield and the date of sink-in is not currently known. We started off on a mooring line nearby, and on the way to the main wreckage we passed over what looks to be some parts of a smaller aircraft, but it was quite difficult to work out exactly what this was. This was a fairly active airfield during World War II, so there's a lot of discarded debris around from various planes over the years. All of this is very heavily encrusted with coral as well, so it gets quite difficult to make out. Here's what looks like part of a wing. And then here we get to the main part of the dive site, the actual Betty itself. Starting off on the wing, and going in for a closer look in between the two parts, where you can see lots of fish have made their home. And then heading up and over the side of the wing, you get a view of the entire aircraft here. The front of the aircraft is fairly demolished, but the wings and the back are all still intact. And that wrecked front section does allow you to penetrate inside the aircraft. Here we are inside the fuselage, making our way down towards the rear. Quite a few Soldierfish there. There you can see where the floor is starting to rot away. Again, schools of fish living in there, as well as these small Cardinalfish here. Making it all the way to the back of the plane. I think probably could have got out that hole, but we turned around and looked back. There's my buddy posing inside the wreck. And again, the small Cardinalfish here. This wreck has obviously been down for about 80 years now, so it is starting to rot away. You can see there the body of the aircraft has lots of holes in it. Here you can see some of the controls on the floor, making the way up to the cockpit, which obviously is missing now, and back outside the wreck. Here you can see one of the access hatches on the top. Some of the glass is still in place there, and the thing is slid open. This is the left-hand side wing now, and looking back at that opening from the other side of the aircraft wreck. We have bubbles escaping out of the wreckage after us and a couple of our divers had been inside it, panning down towards the tail. And as we made our way down towards the tail, there was this collection of artifacts laid out. I think that's one of the seats there for the pilot. And there is the tail of the aircraft once again. Potentially a propeller blade there sticking up out of the sand. I think that had been placed there for divers rather than organically being like that, but there does seem to be some bullet damage in the top potentially. A couple of the fish that make this wreck their home. And looking up and under the right hand side wing now, where you can see right through there. And in a second, if we turn, you can see our bubbles escaping up along the wing. And now a shot of the canopy there, which was quite a distinctive part of this wreck. You can see the open section there. And having a look down into the wreck, which is where we were inside a moment ago. This is sort of the debris field at the front of the wreck. Obviously hit the water with some impact, it's all been fairly demolished. That looks to be a battery there. And we also have this black-spotted sea cucumber here, making its way along the body. About 100 metres from the main wreckage were the two engines. This indicates they were probably still spinning when the aircraft hit the water, as they have broken off and flown a further distance from the main body of the wreck. This one is sat on the propeller itself at the bottom, and above it you can see the engine and some of the mechanisms inside it, although again fairly heavily encrusted now. And there's another shot of those propeller blades at the bottom. And this is the second engine. There you can see the cap and one propeller blade sticking up. This one is lying on its side. There is some of the engine mechanism. You can see some of the turbines and some gears there in the centre of shot. And I think these were the exhaust ports for the engine. And one of the connection points there. Here we've got a small nudibranch, a Wart slug, as well as a tomato jellyfish. This was the only jellyfish we saw on this trip, but I had not seen one of these kind before, so another one to add to the collection. Try to get it in macro there as well, but not the clearest shot in the world. And then we finished off the dive by heading back to the main body of the wreckage and then on back to the mooring line. This is a relatively shallow dive and truck, a maximum depth of about 20 meters, and meant we could spend an hour.